Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. I'm sorry if you were live earlier and you saw that we started going live, but for some reason I went off because apparently Facebook did not like the content that we were sharing. Apparently that was copyright. So we are going to switch gear a little bit and we're going to share something a little bit different. We're going to talk about physical abuse, but I'm going to go through this a little bit more like faster than usual. I'm going to just read a little bit some things that I wrote down about physical abuse a while ago, and then we're going to talk about it. Because I think physical abuse is something that is still happening in Africa today, especially with our children. And we're going to watch two videos here that kind of talks about it. One is from a teacher actually beating a child in school, and then the other one is from two ladies that are actually having a conversation about the fact that they used to get beat and how that impact them. So let's watch the first video. I'm gonna mute the video because we don't want to get copyrighted for the song. This really broke my heart. Like, look at how they are beating this child, right? This is a classroom where a teacher is beating a child in a classroom. And this is something that is happening all over Africa, where teachers actually beat the children. In my opinion, this is a form of physical abuse. This is a form of abuse. And this is something that we see happening all over Africa. And I just want us to recognize, like, this is not okay. This is hindering our children's development. This is hindering the growth of our children, right? This is not something that our teachers should be doing. Teachers should not be whipping children like this. This is not okay. Look how that child is crying. Look how the child is in pain. Look how much pain this kid is in. This is not okay. And I don't know if African parents are telling their children telling the teachers to whip their children when they quote unquote misbehave, but this is not okay. Right, this is not okay. I don't agree to this. And I think we should change the laws and the rules in our continent. In Cameroon as well. I know that this happens.
We're gonna Dad beats me. He lost his temper and he beats me. And imagine a talkative not talking for 3 days. And I know between himself, my mother, like that, they realized that, okay, this is not okay. And that was the last time he hit me. But if I was a white child and I had gone to school, there's no way Kola would have everybody up. But it was discipline. Do you understand? And it was that thing of even people even saying.
And that's the thing here. We say it's discipline, but it's not discipline. It's abuse. Okay? Beating someone like that, it's an abuse. Like the video we just watched right now, taking a cane and whipping a child in that manner. I'm sure that boy was maybe 4 years, 5 years old. Beating someone like that, that's not discipline. Putting your hand on somebody else is no form of discipline. That's the mentality that we have been indoctrinated to think that when we beat someone, we're disciplining them. No, that's not discipline. That's abuse, because that type of physical abuse lasts a lifetime. Look at this woman, is what? She's probably in her 20s, 30s, maybe. And she's still talking about the impact of which something happened to her. I don't know when the last time her father put hands on her, but that's not discipline, Africans. That is abuse. When we beat our children, it is a form of abuse. It is no discipline. Let's keep watching this.
Don't worry, you will not do it again.
Yeah, so I think where the problem is that I don't have any issue with disciplining your children. You might you might even smack them or whatever.
I don't mind smacking.
But there's a line that is so normalized, that is so bizarre. I mean, your child will
break a glass.
Thing. You break a glass or like
break a plate,
pour their food on the ground, and you have slapped them. When you start to think about it, just like this person, you are like 10 times bigger than them. And any small thing that they do, you've thrown a pair of slippers at their head. And it's just like normal.
And you
like,
do it
the
too.
first thing they do is they flinch and everybody's laughing. And it's just sort of part of the
culture,
like, banter that my mom is going to throw slippers at. Whatever is in her hand, she's going to throw it at my head. It is insane. And look, more and more, I know people make fun about it. gentle parenting. Not that I believe in that necessarily. I've met a lot of children. Some of them are good. Do you know what I mean? But I just think that the line that us we've drawn
It's not,
is
no, it's
so
not
far.
okay.
It's violence.
It's not
If
okay.
an adult, so what I say is there are ways that, especially in school, I saw people get whipped with cane. That if in an adult situation you were fighting with someone and they beat you like that, nobody around you would take it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It would be jungle justice. Nobody around you would take it. But all of us will stand, even in assembly, and watch them whip somebody 15 times. And just think, oh yeah, this is discipline for what? It's crazy.
The last time my dad beat me.
Yeah. I definitely think that it's not okay for us to physically beat our children anymore in the form of discipline. This is an idea that we have to break away from in Africa. Because this is something that is happening all over the continent, right? We continue to physically abuse our children, thinking that we're disciplining them. We're not disciplining them, because when we see that our children grow older, that form of abuse lasts with them for a long time, and some of them have some of the things that we're going to talk about right now. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the physical injury that someone faces when they actually go through a physical abuse, like this little boy that was facing this type of abuse right here, right? This is not no form of discipline right here. This is a form of abuse. And when a teacher is whipping a child like this, they have this has a long lasting impact on that child's life, right? And like I said, the first thing that I want to talk about is physical injury, right? When you hit someone like this, when you beat someone like this, they end up having bruises on their skin. They end up having cuts on their body, right? Like for some of us, when we look back on our body, we see the cuts and the bruises that either our parents or our teachers left on our body because they were disciplining us, right? And I think that this is part of the problem that we have in Africa, because our children end up with chronic pain and they don't even know why they're feeling so much pain, right? But because they are being abused over and over, time after time. A teacher will beat you because your shoe is not clean. A teacher will beat you because you didn't get the answer correct on a test. A teacher will beat you because your uniform isn't proper. A teacher will beat you for coming late into class. We use this form of abuse over and over and over, and it is damaging to our children's health. And we need to be able to recognize that. Also, physical abuse can cause disability. Some of our children that we see them having a hard time reading is because they were physically abused, and some of them were probably hit in the head that caused concussion that they never went to the doctor to think about, right? It caused them mental trauma, which it impacts the brain, right? Where maybe they hit the child's head and they hit something in the mind that was supposed to allow the child to develop normally, but this child isn't developing normally because of the impact that was caused by that physical abuse, either by the teacher, the parent, or somebody else that was trying to discipline the child, right? Like when I continue to watch this video, I just want to find a cane and also like whip this woman or madame and see how that feels, because it's like, what are you thinking, right? How can you beat a child like this and consider it discipline? This is not discipline. This is abuse. And we continue to see this time after time in our society, of young children going through this type of abuse every single day, right? On top of everything else that we have to struggle with in our continent, our children still have to face such abuse time after time. The second thing that I want to talk about is the mental health impact that it has on our children's development. When we see children get beat like this, it has a great impact on their mental health, right? Some of it can cause severe, some of the abuse can cause post-traumatic stress disorder, which it can cause depression, it can cause anxiety, right? It can cause low self-esteem, lack of self-worth, lack of confidence, right? We see our children growing up in our society today not having confidence, feeling very insecure about who they are and about themselves, not just because of what they have to endure for their personal journey in life, but because of all the physical abuse that they have probably endured over time, right? When they go to school, children get beat from like 5 year old. This child looks like they could be 5 or 6 years old. They don't look anything older than that. And here we are having a teacher whipping a child in this manner, right? Trauma like this can also affect the child's ability to form healthy relationships, right? Because when you physically abuse someone, they start to have fear within their body. And because they're having fear within their body, you can see that it can cause them not to trust the people that are supposed to care for them, like this teacher, right? This teacher is supposed to be someone that a child can go to and confine to, right? But in the future, a child will not be willing to open up to their teacher, not because they don't want to, but because they have a fear of them being abused in this way. And I'm using the word abuse because it is a form of abuse. It's not discipline, my brothers and sisters in Africa. It's not. It's us causing pain on our children. It's us inflicting pain on our children, right? The second thing I want to talk about is the impact of the child's develop. The third thing, actually, the third thing we're talking about here is the impact of the child's development, right? When a child like this have a physical abuse happen to them very early on in their life, it can impact their social interactions, right? They have insecurity to make relationship with other children around them, right? They have behavior issue or behavior problems, right? They don't want to um now they are trying to be the tough person in the school or around their friends, so they start to act out, right? And then when we see our children grow up, instead of them learning the right way to deal with what their emotions, to deal with what their feelings, to be able to express themselves, instead we see them, as soon as someone says something, they want to fight, they want to put hands on another child, right? They beat other children, not because they this is something that they want, but because this is the form of which they have learned, right? This is a type of discipline that they have learned growing up, being abused. So they turn to become an abuser themselves, right? Also, increase of violence, like I just mentioned, and also becoming an abuser themselves, right? When they get into relationships, you could see this happening. When a child was an abuser, when the child was abused, they become the abuser in the future. They become the violent person in the relationship. And I continue to play this video because this is so sad, right? Look at this little boy crawling on the ground, begging, and the teacher just seems like it's a normal thing that she does. This is not normal. This should not be normalized in our society today. Teachers should not be able to put their hands on children, right? And I'm talking to all the parents out there. Parents, if you have a child, you be sure to tell the teachers never to beat your child ever. If anyone wants to beat them, tell them to send them to you. Tell those teachers to tell you what the problem is. Tell them to tell you so that you can discipline your child the right way. Because this is going to leave a lasting impact on your children. And that's the reality. And the last thing that I want to talk about is social isolation. Because our children have been brutally beat in this manner, right? Some of them start to face fear, they face shame, the stigma that lasts with them for a long time, right? Because this is a lifetime thing. When you get physical abuse, it is a lifetime thing that you have to unpack later on in life, right? So parents, again, this is up to you guys to tell the teachers not to beat your children, or tell other caregivers around you not to discipline your children in this way, because it will allow your child to isolate themselves. And when they isolate themselves, they're going to feel lonely. When they feel lonely, they feel helpless. And when they feel helpless, they don't trust anyone. And when they don't trust anyone to talk to them, they struggle with their mental health. And we see a lot of young people in Africa committing suicide today because they are struggling with their mental health. That's the reality we're facing in our continent today. And physical abuse is one of those things that is driving our children to driving our children to go down the path of suicide. You know? So I want to encourage all the parents, all the caregivers, all the teachers, please, please. Physical abuse is not okay. It has never been okay. Of course, in Africa, we have normalized, parents hitting their children. Of course, we have normalized teachers discipline children in this way. But physical abuse is never okay, right? Nobody should be beating a child in any way like this. It's not okay. Because as we see, it leave a lasting impact on your children. It leaves physical bruises on your children. It causes chronic pain on your children. It allows them to suffer with their self-esteem, right? Their self-worth, lack of confidence. It allows them to isolate themselves and struggle with their mental health. That's what physical abuse does to your children. So, for all the parents out there, I understand that you want to discipline your child. I understand you want to teach your child, but putting your hands on them, it's going to allow them to suffer emotionally. And we see our children, you know, suffering with their mental health in Africa time after time, over and over. That's the little conversation I wanted to just have today. Because the first talk that I wanted to have on this platform, Facebook did not like that conversation, which was Francis Ngannou sharing his story about, his journey, and how he left Cameroon because he thought that there was no future for him in Cameroon, right? Being a boxer, he knew that this was not going to go anywhere if he stayed in Cameroon. So Francis Ngannou ended up like taking a really amazing journey when you look at it, right? From going through 7 different countries to traveling through the Mediterranean Sea or ocean, or to just go through that journey just to get to France and then to be where he's at today. It's amazing, right? And I want our parents to encourage our children, right? I understand that the continent might not be the best when we look at it from a grand scheme. When we look at the economic factors in our society today, right? How there are barely any little to no opportunities in the continent for children to, actually flourish the way that they should. Because Francis, it's a great example, right? If he would have stayed in Cameroon, I don't think we would have known about him the way we know about him today, because there are no opportunities, right? But he took that risk, he took that chance on himself, and he traveled. So that's the story that I wanted to share on here today. But it didn't work out. Facebook didn't like that, but that's okay, because we got to also talk about something very important as well, which is physical abuse. I think that our parents, in this moment, like really look at all the things that physical abuse can hinder your child to do, right? It can hinder your child to develop cognitively, right? They don't know how to speak, or it hinder their ability to think, right? So be mindful of how you're disciplining your child. I get it, people might say it's soft parenting when you talk to your child, but actually when you sit a child down and you talk to them about the thing that they did, about the problem that they're going through, right? Or how they could better themselves from whatever issue that the behavior issue that they are going through, right? When you sit your child down and you talk to them and you try to find solutions to, bring solutions for that child to learn from that experience, right? It actually sticks a lot more longer when you talk to someone in a gentle and healthy way, more than when you beat them, right? Because at some point children get numb to beating and it doesn't impact them anymore, right? So please, my African parents, I'm begging you, stop beating your children thinking that it's helping them. It's not. It's not helping your children become better. It just creates more damage onto them. I understand that this is the system that we have grown up in. This is the type of life that we have lived, thinking that putting our hands, finding cane, and whipping our children is the right way to go. It's not. It's not the right way to go. Sitting your children down, talking to them, telling them the issue that they did, why whatever they did to broke the glass or talk back to the teacher or dirty their uniform, right? Sit them down and talk to them, and then tell them, and then find a solution to what the problem is, right? That's how you help our children develop. You find solution to the problem that they're facing instead of beating them for whatever thing that they cause. You know, that's how we grow, right? We learn because someone teaches us the right way, not because someone beat us for the thing that we did. You know, I hope that this message finds you guys in the best state that you can be in. I hope that all of you are taking care of yourself in this challenging time. I continue to pray that God continue to keep my brothers and sisters in Africa safe, continue to guide us through this challenging time. Please come back again next week for another conversation on Africa Today, and try to come up with content that Facebook would love. Okay, Facebook, we want you to love this page because this page is here to promote positive things in the society. Right, we're here to encourage people. We're here to uplift one another. We're here to motivate and inspire each other. That's why this page is here. So, I understand that Facebook has its own rules and regulation, but the main intent of this page is to motivate and bring amazing, amazing content to the community and the society. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Take care of yourself, love yourself, be kind, and be gentle with yourself. Until next time, bye for now. And my African parents, teachers, caregivers, stop beating our children. Our children are already going through a lot. Take care. Bye bye.